Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah. Week 3 of football was insane. Was literally crazy. A lot of things to talk about, a lot of fantasy news to talk about, a lot of fantasy in general, a lot of things. But before we get, oh, look who's here, guys. Oh my God. Oh wow. Look who's here. We got J and C's podcast is actually here today. We all packed up. Let's freaking go, baby. How you doing, C? How you been? You good?
Hey, I'm good, man. I'm ready to go. Ready to talk some football.
Yeah, nice. Hey, Chris, you've been here for a while. How you been, buddy?
Yeah.
How you been, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good, man.
So much to freaking talk about today. It was a mad show. Um, the Jets. We talked about it on Friday. Me and you, Chris, and Aaron. Uh, I said that either the Jets, if for them to win, it will have to be a close game. But if they didn't, it was gonna be a blowout, and it pretty much was. Jets didn't get a single touchdown. Not much positive to talk about besides, I guess Garrett Wilson is pretty damn good, but he ended up leaving the game early. He came back. Um, the only takeaway from that game is that Brees Hall, for the first time this year, has led the team in snaps over Michael Carter. He had more
Yep.
snaps than Carter, and in the passing work, he had 11 targets from Joe Flacco. Um, the running was okay. Bengals have a good front seven, so they were holding the running pretty down. Um, and the last thing about the Jets is that Zach Wilson, it should be ready to go week 4. It's already said he looks ready. So thank you, Lord Jesus. Joe Flacco, I really did have faith that this game will be a lot more competitive.
Hmm.
It wasn't, but it is what it is. Let's freaking get past it. 1 and 2 Jets. It is what it is. Next week we have the Steelers. Should be interesting. Any games you guys want to just like mention really quickly? I know Chris, you want to talk about that Jaguar game.
Yeah, man. The Jacksonville looks great. Chris mentioned it earlier in one of the podcasts that he believed in Trevor Lawrence. I was a doubter, but I mean he looks really really good. Um, we was even texting about it earlier. I was like that if ETN can step up and just do a little more, they'll have arguably the best running back duo in the league. They're probably about like one more solid receiver away from being contenders, in my opinion. Um, but yeah, that game was crazy. I guess you could say, having Justin Herbert with an injury, maybe why it was such a blowout, but I don't think that was gonna make a difference. They couldn't stop James Robinson. ETN was getting a lot of work, and Trevor Lawrence looked great, over 300 yards. It was just overall a good game and a shocking game to everybody that
So
watched it.
Trevor Lawrence went 28 for 39, 262 yards passing,
Hmm.
3 touchdowns. James Robinson had 17 carries for 100 yards, 1 touchdown. ETN had 13 carries for 45 yards. And then the passing work, which is um, Jones, 10 receptions with 85 yards, a touchdown. Kirk, six receptions, 72 yards, a touchdown. Zay Jones, 4 receptions, 33 yards. It was just a touchdown. It was just great. ETN got 3 receptions, 30 yards passing. Um, the Jacksonville did look really good. They look really solid. James Robinson is what a beast this guy has been the last three
Yep.
years. He's really solid. Undrafted rookie. He's just a beast. Um, Herbert didn't look good.
No, not at all. You could tell
Nah,
it was still bothering him.
he was rushed back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't look good, and I in one of my league, well, in our league, I had Justin Herbert, and I picked up Trevor Lawrence because if game time decision he couldn't go, I could just put Trevor Lawrence at the same time. But I should just put Trevor Lawrence anyways because this
Hmm.
guy just went bonkers against the Chargers, who had a improved defense, I guess,
You
and
could say yeah.
they're supposed to be improved and have two really good down corners. Supposed to have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. Didn't even hear about them really, and it was a weird game. It definitely was a weird game. Um, Before we talk about a little bit of all like the preview games and all that stuff, talk a little bit about the injuries so far. So the latest news right now is Dalton Schultz traveled with the team. He plans to test his knee today before a final game decision against the Giants. But it sounds unlikely that he will play. If you are a Dalton Schultz owner, you probably shouldn't have not played him anyways, and hopefully you plug somebody else in. But if you're still stuck and you have Dalton Schultz and you have no other tight end, you might as well go pick up the tight end from the Giants. Can somebody get him his name for me, please? He scored a touchdown last week. Forgot his name, but the Giants tight end. You could pick him up off waivers. I'm pretty sure no one has him, and you can just plug him in if you really had no other tight end. Um, DeAndre Swift suffered a shoulder injury in Sunday's loss to the
Is
Vikings, which
Tanner
is it?
Hudson.
Yeah, there you go.
say it again.
Tanner Hudson.
Tanner Hudson. That is someone you probably could have picked up for today if you're starting
He's
if you
most definitely
have
in the waiver wire if yeah, because nobody
yeah,
has
most
him.
definitely. Like I said, Swift suffered a shoulder injury. Is not expected to require surgery, but Swift can miss some time. We won't find out the exact time probably until later today. Of this recording is like Monday in the afternoon, so we probably won't find out until later or until tomorrow or until Wednesday. The team might keep it hush hush for a couple days, but real quickly, that game, CU wasn't here, but I predicted the Lions to be an upset and to win that game, and the Lions should have won that game, and Dan Campbell messed up with pretty bad.
Oh,
It was
a report. Sorry to cut you off. A report just came in for Swift as you were saying it. It
oh yeah.
said Lions head coach Dan Campbell said today that running back DeAndre Swift could possibly benefit by taking the next 2 weeks off to help his shoulder heal, then return after Detroit's bye to play October 23rd against Dallas.
So that's 3 weeks off basically.
Yeah.
There's 3 weeks off. So if you are a Jamal Williams owner, um,
Yes, sir.
somebody find out how much registered he's in.
Jamal
Yeah,
Williams?
yeah,
Oh,
he should be
he has to
should
almost
be high, but
yeah,
About
he's
sixty
still
definitely.
percent.
wow. Let's see,
Wow.
60%. So
Crazy.
40% of leagues don't have Jamal Williams.
That's ridiculous.
Go after Jamal Williams. Just today
Hmm.
alone, I mean, just yesterday alone, he ate up the scoreboard. Swift owners, which is are just depressed right now with Jamal Williams taking all the goal line work. But Williams did great. If you
So
do not,
let me cut you off. It's 60 here in sleeper, and on ESPN it's 44%. So it's actually
What?
even
That's
worse.
so
insane.
it's even worse. So he's available in 60% of ESPN leagues and 40% of other leagues in sleeper and probably more everywhere else. Wherever you guys have him at, Jamal Williams is definitely a great waiver wire. He's gonna be in the
Definitely.
talk later in today since we
Probably the number one waiver
he's
wire.
probably going to be out there. But also this guy as well will probably be the number one waiver. Dalvin Cook shoulder dislocated again,
Yep.
as it has in the past, but they think that he'll be okay. If Alexander Madison is in on your waivers, you pick up Alexander Madison. At this point, he probably should be registered. But if he's not, that is the next good waiver wire target. Um, David Montgomery is considered day to day. The Bears they see it as good news after their testings. So another guy to talk about. If you have Khalil Herbert, if David Montgomery left the game and Herbert took over that running game, and he finished as the RB1, and he was just a monster. So Khalil Herbert, if he is not on anyone's team, if he's on a waiver, it's definitely somebody to talk about. But every someone to pick up. I mean, if he's there, you pick him up and you can probably plug him in. But definitely a lot of top RBs who got hurt this week. So you want to get their handcuffs. You want to figure it out. And hopefully you have enough bench depth. If you don't have the handcuff and someone else does, you can fill somebody else in. Like, for example, I want to talk about this guy just for 2 seconds. Just because I have him and I like him. Chase Edmonds was very interesting in the Miami and Bills game yesterday. I liked that he got involved in the red zone.
Me
I
too.
just I what I wasn't well, I mean it is Buffalo's front seven, but he did lead. He did have 6 rushes. Mostert has 8 rushes, 8 carries, but he has 6, and he also had uh 2 touchdowns. So I did like that. I did like what how they involved Edmonds, but the big question is what's going to happen moving forward when you have Mostert and Edmonds and you have a good running game and you're up by a lot of points. For example, they play Thursday. What if they're beating the Bengals by a good margin? Who's going to be that running back? It looks like it could
Mhm.
be Mostert, could be Edmonds, but I was really happy about what he did. Let's talk about some big games from people. Let's first, I want to welcome back Derrick Henry into being what he used to be. Derrick Henry, 85 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And guys, he had 5 receptions for out of 6 targets for
That's
58
amazing.
yards.
This dude has butterfingers.
Derrick Henry finally made it known, caught some balls.
They stole a
Uh,
touchdown from him at the 1 yard line when
yes,
Tannehill had the
Ryan
sneak.
Tannehill rushed a 1 yard. I don't talk about it. I don't want to hear it. Another big name, Devontae Smith,
Yeah,
30 points in fantasy in our leagues. He had 8 receptions,
Killed me.
169 yards, and a touchdown. The guy's a monster.
yeah.
The
He's
guy's
really good.
literally a monster. Him and it all goes to the quarterback. Jalen Hurts
Oh yeah, Jalen Hurts is amazing.
went crazy. He just went. He threw for 340 yards and ran for and threw 3 touchdowns. I'm so used to saying ran because he doesn't throw like that, but he threw 3 touchdowns.
And it's so crazy because everybody was talking about how they don't like him coming into the season because they're like, oh, the Eagles are a very run heavy team, but it's the opposite. They're a very pass heavy team now. They've been
Very
doing
balanced,
great. Yeah.
actually.
They are very
Yeah.
balanced. I like
Very
that.
Hmm.
balanced. Like you don't know where to stop them. Like you can't come in with a
Exactly.
game plan. Oh, we can't stack the box because Devontae Smith and AJ Brown's gonna kill us. We
Hmm.
They're not
can't
doing that.
we can't give them space because they're gonna run all over us. So the
Hmm.
Eagles don't have a known weakness right now, and they look like a very
They
dangerous team,
have a
like we can
really
see.
good defense, a really front seven. You have Slay and Bradbury, thanks to the Giants, as your 2 corners, and you have a nice elite safety. I forgot his name, but they traded for him from the Saints. They're stacked up on defense, and if you're a fantasy owner of almost anybody besides the running game from the Eagles, you was happy if you had Smith, he was happy.
Yep.
AJ Brown, you was happy. He scored a touchdown. Oh yeah, Dallas Goddard scored a touchdown. You was happy. Hurts is feeding the best guys. I love it. It was just Hurts just looks good, and we talked about him and Devontae Smith. We said it that way. AJ Brown being the number one, Smith is gonna have a lot of opportunities
Yep.
to just to burn that second guy up. And after week one, when he gave you that big donut, everybody was panicking. His last 2 starts, it's pretty solid.
Pretty
Well,
solid. Yep.
this last one was amazing, but the week two was solid. So I think until something happens, I think Devonta Smith needs to be in your starting lineup.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's what when the defenses are facing the Eagles, I mean, it's pretty much, you could lock up one, but the other one's gonna, score. Because now I wouldn't even say lock up because look, Monty Smith had 169 yards, AJ Brown had 80 yards, and he still scored a touchdown. So I mean, like, and then Dallas Goedert had what, like 50 yards and a touchdown. So it's like,
Yeah,
uh,
Gotta had
really tough.
26 yards and a touchdown. It was someone else that was getting on the
Yeah.
Eagles that was scoring like I was getting a lot of receptions, but just didn't. I had it right here. My phone just disappeared, and then he ended up. So this guy right here, Um, another tight. Oh, the other tight end, 1 yard for 40 yards. One big
Yeah.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. They look the same. That's why I know you thought that was Goddard
Yeah.
because I thought I was watching the games. I had the red zone here, and
Hmm.
I had the terrible Jet and Bengals game on my big screen. When I watched it here, and I saw the big tight end catch, I was like,
Yeah.
"Go, go!" I was like,
I know it
"Yes."
pisses me off. The same thing happened with the Chiefs game too. The other tight end caught a touchdown. It looked just like Kelsey. I got
Yeah,
hype. Yeah, he's number 84. Also was the 8. I got hype, started screaming. I'm like, that's not Kelsey.
we joke about it because in the Rams you have
Hmm.
Cooper Cup and you have somebody else that's just like Cooper Cup,
Yep,
and he gets a lot of receptions too. And it's like,
he
"Hello,
does.
Allen Robinson, where is he?" It's crazy,
Nice.
but Eagles just look like a real strong team.
Hmm.
They start off 3-0. It looks like they could run away with this division.
Not
Um,
even the division like this. I'm thinking about the conference.
They're a dark
Like
horse, to be
all
honest.
right,
who
so all right,
who
I'm gonna throw some teams at you right now. Who do you take? Let's hope. Let's just say health wise.
Hmm.
Green Bay against the Eagles.
the
Oh, the
Eagles like
Eagles. I take the Eagles in that one.
Tampa Bay healthy against the Eagles.
I take the Eagles too.
Tampa Bay healthy. I will take the Eagles. I think they have a better defense right now. And Tampa Bay has a good defense. Don't get me wrong, but I think, you know, yeah, I take the Eagles at that point.
The Rams healthy against the Eagles. I
That's
think
The
they are
tough.
Rams,
healthy.
the Rams were healthy. Yeah, they
Well,
haven't.
besides Stafford's elbow, there's not much to really talk about.
Yeah, I still take the Eagles.
I don't know.
Mind you guys, I'm a
Yeah.
Giants fan. Mind you guys,
Hmm.
I'm a Giants fan,
No,
and
no,
I'm
no, no.
looking at
I understand.
the
I'm just asking.
Eagles, and I'm
I'm
still
just
looking at the
asking.
Eagles
Yeah.
like this is scary.
No, they're scared, but I might go with the Rams on that one.
You're
But I
going with the
wouldn't be
Rams.
surprised if the
You're
Eagles
going,
win
he's
that
going with
game.
the Rams because Cooper Cup won him his league last year. He just can't get over it. He's stuck to Cooper Cup.
I should have
Okay,
picked them.
San Francisco or the 40 the Eagles. I'm
The
for the
Oh, the
Eagles,
49ers.
the
Eagles.
Eagles for sure.
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, I don't know if that's easy, bro. Like I don't. I think San Fran it will be an interesting team.
Defensively,
Uh,
San Fran is really good. That's the only reason why I would be like, okay, that's a little tough.
Yeah, but in a
But
low scoring game, they just lost against the Broncos. Like, and the Broncos are still trying to find themselves. And if it was the Eagles, I feel like the Eagles
yeah.
take advantage of that way more
no,
than the
no, no.
Broncos
Yeah,
do.
right now. You know, that's a talk right now, and then we'll go 3 weeks ahead, and let's say Eagles
Hmm.
lose their next 3 games, and San
Yeah, for
Fran
sure.
wins.
Hmm.
It's gonna be like, nah, easily San Fran can beat the Eagles. You know, like it's gonna change throughout the whole season. But right now, you
Right now,
know,
Jay Hurts is the quarterback. Like he's literally in elite tier. It's Allen, Lamar, and Hurts, and then after that, it's like wobbly. I don't know. It's really weird.
right
No,
now he's quarterback 3 right now
oh, exactly what
in
I just said.
fantasy.
Allen,
That's so wild.
Allen, Lamar, and Hurts. It's literally him. They're
That's
in this
crazy.
tier right now in fantasy.
It's
Everybody
literally
else is up and down.
it's literally a game that you have to talk about. And let's flip to the other team that got embarrassed. I saw a post and I had to talk about it. Wentz back to back weeks, 20 plus points, was finishing top five QB the last 2 weeks, and then people start him over big names like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and this guy gives you a stinker. And he just gives you like he just plays terrible.
I
And
mean,
Yeah.
that just tells you how good the Eagles defense is,
yeah,
because it's not a fluke. I mean, look, they shut down um Jetta and Kirk Cousins. They shut down um who they played week one. Ugh,
Eagles.
I'm
Who is
If
it?
they
blanking.
Eagles played
Miami, right? Was it Miami?
no,
No, the Eagles
No,
play the Lions.
the
the Lions,
Lions.
and they didn't shut them down. It
Oh,
was
and they
30.
shut
It
them
was
That
down.
38
was
to
a
Yeah.
35.
shootout.
That
Yeah.
was a shootout. So with this game, literally, if you start Antonio Gibson, you got saved by a touchdown. If you started Curtis Samuel and Terry McLaurin, those are your only two
Oh,
good
I'm
things that you got.
loving me some Curtis Samuel.
Hmm.
Even in
Curtis
bad games, he's able to get
Curtis,
me 13
Curtis
points.
Samuel, 7 receptions, which in PPR it was 7 points plus the 48 yards was added another 4 points. The big one here was the best wide receiver in this team, and that's Scary Terry. 6 receptions for 102 yards. He gave you the best production. Um, but besides that, Jahab Dobson, you know, Wentz only threw for 211 yards. That basically went to those two names I just said. So
Yeah.
everybody else, you people started Logan Thomas. You know, they got excited with the hype, and people probably believed that this game would have probably been a shootout, and Eagles shut it down. Eagles are a real team. I think this was a very important game to talk about. I think we broke it down pretty well. Um, on the Eagles side of the ball, Miles Sanders had 15 rushes, and then Hurts had 9 rushes. And besides that, no one else took carries from Miles
Hmm.
Sanders. So that's a good sign for any Miles Sanders owners. But he only rushed for 46 yards, so it is what it is. Another another game I want to talk about, and Chris mentioned his name just now. Um, the Ravens against the New England Patriots. Lamar Jackson, back to back weeks. It's just this man is on a tear.
Hmm.
Bro, he wants his money, bro. This man said, "Y'all want to pay me? Okay, either you
You
gonna pay
need to
me.
pay him
You need
by
to pay this
now.
man. You need to pay this man. This guy is going on a. This guy's gonna be the football Aaron Judge.
I was
This
just about to say he's reminding me of Aaron Judge. He's
the
reminding me of
football
Aaron
Aaron
Judge.
Judge this year. Yeah, I said, y'all want to pay me? All right, I'm gonna show you how much I'm worth.
And
And
it's
this
crazy how
man,
many yards did he throw? I don't think he didn't even throw 200.
218 passing yards
That's
with
crazy. Four touchdowns.
four
That's
throwing
ridiculous.
touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns.
and a
That's
rushing.
crazy.
No, did he rush one in?
He
Did he
rushed
rush?
one. Yes, he did.
So
So
that's five
Lamar,
touchdowns total. Wow.
Yeah, five
Crazy.
total
So Lamar's
touchdowns. Yeah.
stats. I'll give you everything. 18 of 29. 18 of 29. 218 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, 11 yards rushing, 107 yards, 11 carries, 107 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And the touchdowns he threw to was to Mark Andrews. He threw 2 touchdowns to
Yes,
that
baby.
beast. 8 receptions, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then he threw a touchdown to Duvernay, who Duvernay, I believe, caught 3 touchdowns straight so far, 3 weeks in a row.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Duvernay has a
I
touchdown.
stashed him on my bench last week. I
And
said,
then
I'm
the
just gonna
other
look at
tight
this
end
guy.
got a touchdown, Oliver, which is just crazy. Lamar, needs to get paid. He is just on a tear. It's like it reminds me of Aaron Judge. The more good, like the more amazing he does, the more the money is gonna go up. So
Hmm.
right now he's leading. Right now he's MVP candidate, might be number one. I know it's early. It's week 3, but right now he's leading the MVP candidates. Right behind him is Jalen Hurts, which by the way, both quarterbacks, run first quarterbacks are leading the MVP candidates right now, and probably Josh Allen is there as well. But it's something that was remarkable. Um, we did talk about sitting J.K. Dobbins as tomorrow as well. We will go through our starts and sits, and we'll go through all the points and see where we probably was right, where we was wrong. We're gonna wait until tonight's game to officially get all the points and see where they finished at. J.K. Dobbins 7 carries for 23 yards. New England's really good at stopping the run. Rashad Bateman 2 receptions and 59 yards. Didn't have a really good game. As we saw, Lamar only threw 218 yards.
Hmm.
Um, he missed Bateman by a little bit on a deep passing route that would have got him in the end zone. But I feel like that's a problem because that's all week 1 against the Jets. If he doesn't catch that big bomb, he gives you a stinker. Week 2 was a solid game against Miami. One of them involved a 75-yard pass. This one, he almost missed it, but if he catches that, he has a good game. If not, he gave you a stinker. Like, how do we feel about Rashad Bateman right now? I expected more than what I'm getting.
Yeah, as a Bateman owner myself, I have him in my sleeper league. He's a guy I believe you have to watch out for matchups. Like Lamar is matchup proof, Andrews is matchup proof. But I think if you have a team who gives up a lot of receiving points to opposing teams, that's when you want to start them. If you see a team that struggles, because they run first, as you can see, like either with Lamar or and it looks like
Uh,
Andrews is his guy too.
It always was this guy.
Exactly. So he's gonna look at Andrews first. Bateman may be number one, but he's gonna look at Andrews first. And you just gotta look at the defense he's playing. If it looks like a defense where Rashad Bateman can get open for 75 yard touchdown, then yeah, I think I'll put him in because I think he's gonna do that. But it's a coin flip with him right now going in week to week.
Yeah, it's very, very weird. Mark Andrews is the tight end one. Travis Kelsey, tight end two. Nothing to be really surprised about right now. Those guys are doing great. Um, I want to talk about this game. Chiefs and the Colts.
Hmm.
A crazy upset, was a crazy game. I said on our last podcast, Chris, that I thought this game was going to be a lot closer than people thought, but I still didn't think. I didn't know it was going to be like this. And Mahomes really kind of
He
played
struggled.
mediocre. He
Hmm.
struggled really hard, and you could saw he was arguing with offensive coordinator from the Chiefs as he wanted to go for it and do all this other stuff before the half. And the guy said, "Yo, we're good," and they ended.
They
We're not
weren't
good.
good.
They weren't good.
You got to. I mean, at that point, it's Patrick Mahomes. You got to trust him. I
Yeah,
understand. You know, there's statistics and this and that, and you got to work with this. But if Patrick Mahomes says, "I got it," he got it. Just
you
trust him. You know.
kind of gotta just let him, let
Yeah.
him do him. And
And if you let him go, and he gets you close enough for a field goal, look at the difference.
Then that's enough. That's the
You
difference.
lost by a field goal.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
they lost 20-17. So Mahomes, 20 of 35, 262 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 into. Um, let's talk about the running backs really quickly. As I want to read the stat for you guys right here. Edwards Alaire, 7 yards rush, 7 carries, 0 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. He has 7 opportunities,
What a day.
no rushing yards, 1 touchdown. All right,
That's
uh,
pretty freaking amazing, if you ask me.
that's pretty great. Yeah, he did better than Alvin Kamara. I'll tell you that. Uh, Jared McKinnon, 7 carries for 20 yards rushing. Didn't do nothing with it either. So it was only him and McKinnon really that got attempts to rush. And then we go to the passing. Juju Smith-Schuster, 5 receptions, 89 yards, no touchdown. Travis Kelsey, 4 receptions, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this is where his points pretty much came in with the other touchdown. 5 receptions and 39 yards. And then you have MVS was 4 receptions and 48 yards. So as you can tell, Mahomes wasn't lying when he said he's gonna pass the ball around to everybody.
Hmm.
Because last year Chiefs was only two names that had all the receptions and all the yards, and the rest was just maybe one catch, maybe two catches. But I just read to you five people who had 5 to 4 receptions and over 30 yards each. So Mahomes is passing the ball. It's a good thing, but I want to ask you a question. Are you confident in Juju every single week?
Oh, not at all.
It's just
Not at
tough,
all.
man. There's too much going on in Kansas City.
Listen, I have Travis Kelsey out, and the way they're passing the ball around, I'm not confident in him giving me 20 points every week.
But he
I
And
don't
does.
it,
know. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
He's the red zone guy.
because he's had what? Did he have 20 points week one? He did have 20 points week
He
one,
had 25, and then week two
and then we get 10,
was a slow week for all
and
tight
then
ends
last
besides
night's
Mark
game,
Andrews.
and then yesterday's game was 17. But not saying confident, like, oh, I don't trust Travis Kelsey, but it's like the way he is passing the ball around. Travis Kelsey is not going to be the old Travis Kelsey where he was getting 80, 100 yards religiously every week and getting a touchdown or two every week. It's not going to be like that. So if you can't expect numbers like that from Travis Kelsey, you're not going to expect numbers from Juju Smith.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he had 9, 7, and 8 targets in all 3 weeks, Travis Kelsey, and that's Travis Kelsey target numbers. It's just, he had red zone targets, and he's gonna be the game plan now. Before with the Chiefs is that we gotta stop Tyreek Hill and then Travis Kelsey. And that's why Kelsey was always open. Now Kelsey is the number one guy that they're looking at. So I think that week in and week out, Kelsey's gonna give you his points and he's gonna produce for you. Week two, if you didn't have Mark Andrews, you didn't score 20 plus points last week. The week before, week two, Mark Andrews was the only one that had 20 plus, and I think one more tight end that was a bench tight end, like a waiver wire. And week
No,
three,
the closest one was Andrews to Wall. I mean Waller was the closest one to Andrews, and I think
that's
he
what
only
I
had
meant.
like 17.
Yeah, Waller. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then after that, it was pretty much dead. And then week three, Travis Kelsey really did 8. And if he gets that other tight end touchdown, which he probably would have, I didn't see that play, but if he would have got that one, you're talking about he finishes as high as Mark Andrews because they both got 2 touchdowns. I really do. I get what you're saying. I'm trusting Travis Kelsey, but besides that, it's very risky. With Juju, I don't know how do you feel about him. I don't know what to feel about that guy. And the rest of the wide receivers, Sky Moore is pretty much a ghost.
Yeah.
Everybody that had all the high hopes on him, if you took a risk on him, you was wrong. But it's what it is. And a wide receiver that we liked really much that actually you can say was his breakout game was Chris Olave.
Hmm.
Chris Olave with the Saints actually had a great breakout game. That's the last thing I had to read from the news and notes. The news and notes I just remembered was Michael Thomas left the game, and Javaris Landry got hurt towards the middle of the game. But this was Olave got this stuff even while they were there. Chris Olave had 9 receptions for 147 yards,
Yep.
and he had a great rookie game. Great game, back to back weeks by the way, where he had 13 targets.
I love it.
This This time, the 13 targets, he actually caught 9 out of the 13 instead of 5 out of the 13. So that's
Mm.
why his yards just spoken up. And he faces Minnesota next week. Are you guys think that that's a good start?
Uh, he's a flex play for me. Yeah,
You think
I would
so?
start him. Yeah.
Yeah, especially because you don't know what the injuries look like for the other two receivers, and even if one of them come back, like you said, he got all that attention with them on the field. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's a solid start, solid flex.
Jameis Winston doesn't look good though. I don't like James Winston. I
You
mean,
think it's because of the injury, or you think that's just
I don't
he's just
know.
not
He
looking
looked
great?
he looked good
He's
last
never.
year, but that's when they had Sean Payton. So I don't
Hmm.
know if it was Sean Payton or if it's the injury. It
Yeah,
could probably be both. I don't know why he looks so bad. Like he lost against the Panthers, who by the way just doesn't know how to use Christian McCaffrey because Baker Mayfield doesn't like using him.
I mean, all you
But
gotta do is give him the ball.
You would
yeah,
think it's that easy, right?
You would think,
You
right?
would think it's
Give
that
him the
easy.
ball, get him some blocks, and let
Give
him
him the
work.
ball.
But no, run a screen, throw him the ball, block for him. No, they can't do that either.
No,
I
bro.
don't know.
I
I don't know.
mean,
They haven't watched their own tape.
like Winston threw, he had 25 out of 41 attempts, threw 353 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 intos. I don't know, it just doesn't look good. Look like he could get the Saints past this hump, and they don't look good. Olave had 9 receptions, 147 yards, and then Traquan Smith had 4 receptions and 105 yards. Then Thomas and Landry got hurt, so is what it is. Any concerns about Alvin Kamara?
Yes. I've had concerns. Like I was having troubles with him last year, and I was like, okay, Jameis Winston's gonna come back this year, and he's going to be a plus. And Alvin Kamara, and like you, the beginning of the season, I was drafting on a bunch of mock drafts, wasn't able to get him in any of my actual drafts, and I was like, damn, I think Kamara's.
Congratulations.
I was like, damn, I wasn't able to get him. And then I'm watching him these weeks. I'm like, what is going on? This man is not doing it. And it's not just him. There's some first round, second round running backs who are just struggling. But
Oh,
he's
I mean,
he's
A lot of them
he's
are
he's
I'll
actually.
part of
stop it
that
right there. Jonathan Taylor doesn't look good either, but
at
keep
all.
going.
But
Jonathan Taylor
yeah,
doesn't look good. No one.
oh,
Yeah, there's
and
a lot of good. A lot of them.
but specifically with Kamara, as especially in a PPR
Ay, ay, ay.
league, you would think Kamara would at least get. They're using him, and I'm watching some of these Saints games, and they're using him strictly as a runner. Like
Hmm.
that's not
Two
who Kamara
receptions.
is.
Yep.
Two
That's
That's what
not.
I'm
receptions.
Yeah,
trying to
that's not who
say. That's what I'm
Kamara
trying to
is.
say. He's not a runner. He's a pass catching running back. That's what he's better at. Yeah, use him as a runner. He'll make some moves. And he's a great running back as well. But where he shines is put him on the screenplay, put him down in the on an in route or right down the middle, like against the linebackers. That's where he shines,
This
and
is
they're
where I had
not
my
seeing that.
problem. This
If Sean
this is where
Payton was there, it would have been going good.
yeah, this is where I realized that this Camara is really an issue. Um, Camara had 15 carries. Ingram had 5 carries.
Hmm.
If I was to tell you guys in advance, 15 and 5, which one actually scores a touchdown? You're probably gonna go with the 15, right?
Of
Yeah.
course,
Mark Ingram came in the goal line and took Kamara's touchdown from him. Five
yeah.
carries. One of them had to be the freaking touchdown. That's an issue. That is an issue because we said this. We said about Austin Eckler. He's not in the goal line no more. That's an issue. But at least they were throwing him the damn ball on offense. Maybe
Hmm.
because Keenan Allen wasn't there, and I still want to see what happens when he comes back, and maybe when Justin Herbert feels better. But Kamara, it was not in the goal line. Didn't get the attempt to get in the touchdown, and he had 15 opportunities and only rushed for 61 yards. It's a big concern, and I'm not happy. At this point, I'm asking you guys a question: would you trade Alvin Kamara for Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Hmm.
As of right now, through week 3, yes.
Week 3.
Yeah, I mean, if I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you're looking at it as if I had CH instead of Kamara, I probably would have won an extra game. Then yeah, like that's how bad it's been. So it
Now,
makes you
well,
think.
if you're 0-3 or if you're 1-2 with Kamara, which thank God I'm not because I have stud
Hmm.
wide receivers. But if I was, I is an immediate trade that I would do in 2.2. Like I would do it so fast because
Hmm.
you can't keep like you're getting beat up. If it wasn't for Derrick Henry, I well and a couple of bad benching decisions, but if it wasn't for that, you probably I'm looking at a 1-2 start. I'm looking at my biggest error, and that's Alvin Kamara giving me these terrible points that I should not be getting from a first or an early second round pick. I don't like where he's at right now. I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and if you got lucky with James Robinson, you could just plug him in. But still, Kamara was a high draft pick, and it's something to really look into. Let's talk about one
Mhm.
more team, and then we can talk about the other teams in our next episode. And let's get in, and then we'll get into our waiver. A lot of big waiver names. Last team I do want to talk about which was another upset. The Bills against the Miami Dolphins.
That was a good game.
It
That
was a good
was
game.
an amazing game, guys. Josh Allen threw 63 times. Like he threw 63 times.
That's
Oh.
literally the game plan. I'm always looking at this game, and when it looks like he's going to do a running play, if you guess that it's a play action play, you would be right probably 85% of the time because he's going to take that ball back and throw the ball, run it himself. Like they are
It's
a pass. When I say pass first team, that's an understatement. How much they are a pass first team is
Now,
crazy.
if I was to ask you guys, like if we did the preview games, like we do in our last episode, now I was to say, do you think finishes with the most receptions? Who would your guess would have been?
What do you mean
Stephon Diggs.
in this
Like if
game?
I was to ask you before the game started, like who do you think will have the most receptions when the game is over?
I
Stephon Diggs,
mean,
right?
I always be Stephon Diggs, yeah.
It wasn't Diggs this game. Devin Singletary had 9 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. He
McKenzie
had
went off
9 carries for 13 rushing yards.
I
McKenzie.
think it was too because if you watch the game, they Miami's defense was really rushing Josh Allen, and a lot of the times he was looking to the side and he had to dump it off to Singletary a lot of the times, and that's partly why he threw 63 times and they still lost the game. You know, their defense. I mean, we said it in with Aaron in the podcast. Um, I think I said that was going to be a very good and close game, and I was like, it's going to be a very good defensive game, and it was. You know.
Yeah, that was the game that I said that look, Buffalo's been coming to everybody's stadium and embarrassing them. So I was
Hmm.
like, Buffalo's just gonna embarrass Miami too. But they didn't. They
The
it,
thing, and
it's
that's another thing too in a close game because this is the first close game that Josh Allen has had. He's blown the first two people out. That this third game, it's like now it's a close game. Put the ball in Josh Allen's hand, let him win the game, and he botched. He had a wide open play. He had a wide open touchdown to that last. I think it was Davis, somebody in the end zone where he underthrew him and the game was over and you cut to the offensive coordinator just throwing his mic on
no
and headphones all over the place. It was the funniest
man.
thing I've ever seen in my life. But
He was
he
pissed off
missed
at
that
the
wide
time
open.
management.
It was crazy. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
he was upset, but Josh, it it was a crazy game. It was a crazy game, and there's a lot of questions about this. There's a couple of questions that I want to ask you guys. First, let me read through what Josh Allen did. Even though he lost, he did have an amazing game. 42 out of 63 attempts, 400 passing yards, and 2 touchdowns. He ran 8 times for 47 yards. The wide receivers, McKenzie, 7 receptions, 76 yards, 1 touchdown, and then Diggs got 7 receptions, 74 yards. Um, a lot of people drafted Gabe Davis, expecting him to be, I guess, their wide receiver one for whatever reason, or their wide receiver two. I see big concerns about Gabe Davis. I think Isaiah McKenzie is taking a lot of attention, and I think if you're a Gabe Davis owner, there should be real concerns about him at this point.
Well, I'm a Davis owner. The only reason I'm not that is just he was hurt the second week, so he wasn't even there. He didn't play. All right, fine. McKenzie's hurt now. He's questionable. I don't know why. I don't know where his injuries is. I have to look that up. But Davis on week 3 was playing on a he was a game time decision, so he wasn't 100%. If I see this week 4 again after he should be 100%, then yeah, I'll have a little bit more concern. But if he's 100% playing that much of the snaps, because he does, when he, as you saw in week 1, he was there forever. Like he was never off the Bears, basically never off the field. So I have to see him 100%, see where he's at, what he does week 4. If it's the same thing and McKenzie takes over again, then yeah, there are some major concerns.
Yeah, I, I'm concerned now for him and for his fantasy value just because Isaiah McKenzie was a secret stash name for a lot of people that expected him to get a lot of attention in the slot because Josh Allen loves his slot players and they think that McKenzie was going to be the next Cole Beasley. And I don't think there's enough passing to go around when you had him, Diggs, Isaiah McKenzie, and maybe Singletary. Probably not going to get that every game, but Singletary, Zach Moss, Gabe Davis. I'm concerned of it now than I was. I wasn't a big fan of Gabe Davis to begin with, so that's probably why I think there's a big concern about him. But whatever. Uh, you can see what happens there. On the other side of the ball, I just other side, the Dolphins. Tua Tagovailoa didn't really have a great game. He did get hurt, ended up coming back into the game at the second half. He went 13 of 18 attempts, 186 yards, and 1 touchdown. Um, didn't really have a monster game. Like we said, it was a good defensive game. The turnovers is what led Miami to get closer into the end zone. Edmonds, where I already read that, was 6 rushes, 21 yards, 2 touchdowns. But out of Tua's 180 yards passing, 102 yards went to Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle had 4 receptions, 102 yards. At this point, I don't know how you're not excited about Waddle on this team. It looks like even when they have a close game, if Hill is going to get all the attention, Tua's going to look at Waddle all day and every day and get those big plays from him. It's a big game. Now Hill went 2 reception, 33 yards. Christian, you concerned?
No. Like you said, I mean, we don't expect Tua to be this big quarterback. Everybody like throwing 40
Yeah.
attempts, 300 yards. So when he's gonna have slow games, he's gonna have bad games, but that's just the quarterback play. And because, like you said, you have Jalen Waddle on the other side, so
Yeah.
well, I mean, I guess you can be worried just because of all those things I said, but when it comes to production wise stuff, I mean, no, because he's still Tyreek Hill, and he's gonna have those weeks where he does blow up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and then like C said in the our last podcast together as a group, he said that Gasecki was just a fake, like that was a flaw what he did last week because you know Tua threw 6 passing touchdowns. They're like, do not
Hmm.
pick him up, drop him. Gasecki gave you 1 reception for 6 yards. He's a terrible tight end. Please drop him. Please just do me a favor.
It's
Don't.
a fluke. It's a fluke. And Tua actually, if you have a chance to, or if you're struggling with QBs, look at his matchup, and you probably could plug him in if a good matchup. Like this obviously wasn't a good week. I would put no
You sat
stream.
him.
Of course, I mean I have them just, but I picked them up as a stream as a just in case, or something really happened. But I have, I don't know which league it
Yeah,
was. I
on
have
your sit
Allen.
list, I meant too, is that you said that you put him on your sit list for this
Yeah,
week.
but that's what I'm saying. I picked them up for some weird thing, but I would put Tua in if you're struggling with QB and he has a good matchup. Now against the Bills, of course, that's not a good matchup,
For
but
anybody.
you find him facing the Bills are gonna face the Jets twice. Or Miami, not my they're Miami, New England. They're gonna face New England twice. Those are good. Those are some type of matchups where you believe that okay, he'll get you 20 plus points.
You
You know what I mean?
confident with him doing this on a Thursday night this week against the Bengals?
Yeah, I don't think the Bengals have a great defense
They
as
actually,
of
they
right now.
actually, they actually do have a good defense.
But
I
I
don't know.
mean,
Ah, they,
they haven't shown it. I mean, the Jets played
well,
terrible
the
last.
Bengals never got blown out. Every game has been a close game, and it
Close,
Yeah.
but the
hasn't
other
been
team
high
has been
scoring.
scoring. But I mean, the Jets. I think the Jets lost more from bad offense than good defense last week. I don't think the Jet. I don't think Flacco was playing like at like his age like this week,
Uh,
and the first 2 weeks, they just botched. I mean, I guess at the end of the Steelers game, they played really good defense, holding them to so that they can come back, but
yeah,
it's
like
really up in the air.
the biggest problem about the Bengals was their offense because their
Yeah.
defense was keeping them in it. They lost to the Steelers in overtime, 23-20. Wasn't really a blowout, and then week two they lost 20-17. No one's really scoring that much on them. It's just their offense is not producing. And like we all said, Bengals are gonna come out and put everything they can into that this week against the Jets to win and not go 0-3. The Bengals in their first drive did a flea flicker. That's how desperate they were. They wanted to do a flea flicker and hit somebody deep. T. Higgins was legit the man. Jamar Chase didn't. If it wasn't for that open touchdown, the Jets they were confused on defense. But Jamar Chase got a free touchdown. Besides that, Jamar Chase had a very bad week. He had 6 receptions for 29 yards. The
Sauce.
Jets they did their job on stopping Jamar Chase, and they messed up on Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, and they both did 100 yards each.
Yeah.
So, like they did their job on the number one wide receiver. So,
I think they did the opposite of what you said. I think they had sauce on Chase with some safety help, and
bro,
then and
that
then
was a
everybody
good.
else, had a one-on-one match. Like you
Well,
hold this
yeah,
guy
he
or
got
something.
some safety help, but for a lot of the most part, they were going 1-on-1, and they were even fighting. I was loving it. And Jamar Chase was not happy. He was not happy. Jamar Chase fumbled. He gave up a fumble, and then when they went up a couple times for some jump balls, Sauce was stopping him, and Jamar Chase was getting frustrated. But the frustration. But then when you see your other guys, your other brothers doing their work, and they're cooking the Jets defense, they're like, all right, whatever. So we
Yeah,
still gonna
yeah,
win.
yeah,
And then he
exactly.
catches a freebie touchdown because the defense was all confused. So they were like, okay, whatever. He was fine. But Jamar Chase, I have a little concern about him. For his last 2 weeks has not been really solid. 10 points and 12 points got saved by a touchdown. I would be concerned if I was a Chase fan. up to the point where I don't really know what is going on, but it is what it is. I got a report just now. Uh, Vikings head coach said that Dalvin Cook is day to day with a shoulder injury. So if you are a Cook owner, I would probably go after Alexander Madison
Yep.
and try to either trade for him or see if he's in the waiver wire. Um, we'll get into a lot more games to talk about in our next episode. Let's talk about a little bit of a waiver claims that you guys think that we should go after. So Christian, give me a name, any position that you think that we should go after for that had a solid game.
Yeah. I guess I'll just start with quarterback. If for some reason you haven't picked up Wentz, yes, he had a bad game. We just talked about he had a very bad game, but he faced a very good defense. But if you still haven't picked him up, I think he's still a solid choice. He's gonna have matchups where he's gonna um get you at least 20 points. But my other quarterback was, just in case you picked him up, Matt Ryan, I would say, is a
Okay.
solid pick. He looked better than his previous weeks. Michael Pittman is back. Didn't do too much, but Michael Pittman is still that wide receiver one. As long as he's healthy, Matt Ryan has a target to go to. Um, and I think Matt Ryan's just a solid quarterback. Like I said, not going to give you the big games like 35, 40 points. He's going to give you at least 20 points. And,
Okay.
that's enough.
All right, see, give me a quarterback that you would on the waivers. You think you get
I
picked
would
up?
pick up. I would pick up. I had him here. Ryan Tannehill, if he's still available, he should be. I don't think he's a quarterback that everybody was going after.
No.
He has a good matchup coming up, and I had it here.
While you're
Uh,
looking for it, just to talk about Ryan Tannehill, his first week he gave you about 20 points. Second
Hmm.
week he gave you a really bad stinker. And then this week he gave you another 20 points. So if he has a good solid matchup, he should produce for you. I just hate picking up Tannehill and starting him. He just gets on my nerves.
it's a risk, of course, but I like him match if he's has a good matchup. Indianapolis have been giving up a lot of points to the quarterbacks lately, so even Mahomes, who had a bad game for him is 19 points, but
Yeah.
it's I believe a good matchup for this year because the Colts have been giving up a lot of good points, and the only bad game he had was in Buffalo,
The
so
Buffalo game,
the
yes.
Buffalo game is very terrible facing the Buffalo defense when you're a quarterback. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
my QB waiver pickup.
The quarterback that I was talking about, that I mentioned him earlier, was Trevor Lawrence because a lot of people still didn't probably believe in him and they left him on the waivers. He's probably still on your waivers. I will pick him up
And
because,
start him next week, not this
and,
week.
and yeah, yeah, and I'll pick him up and you could just stash him like C just said because if you're a Christian Kirk owner and you're having a quarterback issue, you add that combo and you feel happy. You add that combo together, you're safe. You feel good. Trevor Lawrence is my quarterback. Running backs, we mentioned a lot of running backs to pick up the waivers. Khalil Herbert, Alexander Madison, um, and Jamal Williams if they're available. There's only one more running back, and C has it here, and that's Shamandre Pete Ryan from Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Mixon was a little bit banged up. You can pick him up as one of your waiver claims, even if. We don't know what happened with Joe Mixon's injury just yet. He could be a solid pickup and a solid stash if you are a Joe Mixon owner, or if you want to mess with the Joe Mixon owner and you hold him and see if they want him, and you could trade for him and see if Joe
Hmm.
Mixon actually plays. Besides that, the only other name that I could come up with is Mostert because he is getting goal line attention for Miami. Even though Edmonds did get the touchdowns, Mostert he did lead the team again in carries. So I would say pick up Raheem Mostert and see what happens. Let's go to wide receivers. Chris, give me a wide receiver that you think should get picked up.
Um, Wide receiver I would try and look for would be Devontae Parker. Um,
Okay.
I know it's New England. We talk about how we just don't like their team as a whole. But if you need a solid flex, you have a wide receiver out. I think he's very good. I mean, last night he had 10 targets, 5 receptions, 156 yards. Um, and next week they're playing Green Bay. So
Now, I
I
would
mean,
like to like cut you off for
yeah,
a
no, no,
second.
go ahead, go ahead.
Mac Jones
Hmm.
did leave the game with a very serious injury, and people think that it's season ending. They don't know yet.
Oh wow, they
Yeah,
didn't know it.
I forgot to say that part in the news and notes. I forgot to write it down. But at the very last play, he limped off, and they had to legit carry him off the field, and he couldn't even walk on his foot on his
It was,
leg.
it was probably
So
that nasty gritty he hit after that
so,
touchdown.
listen, I don't like the Patriots as a Jet fan, but in the sports of football, you never wish injury upon anybody. So I
Hmm.
hope he's okay. I hope Mac Jones is good. If Mac Jones is quarterbacking, I do agree with the Devontae Parker pickup. Even with the backup, no matter who they have, they might have to trust somebody. And I guess the Devontae Parker is that guy. But
Hmm.
we will know maybe by tomorrow to see what Mac Jones' injury is. Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
You're
You are
Chris.
Chris. Sorry.
Oh, I'm Chris. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh
You
no,
said Devontae Parker, and was that it? I'm sorry.
yes, but then you lost me, so it's okay. Go ahead, Chris. Please.
Go ahead, see. Give me a wide receiver. Sorry, just I had to mention that because
No,
Mac
it's all
Jones
right. No,
got
I didn't
hurt.
even know.
I complete. It was at the very ending of the play, and they had to like carry him off the field.
It's
Go
that
ahead,
gritty
see.
was just too saucy, man.
It
It,
was it was like it's too crazy, man. They had to. He couldn't gritty off the field though. I tell you that much.
terrible.
Romeo Dobbs is my wide receiver. Jacob doesn't like him. I know he doesn't.
Well,
But
wait. He actually, I didn't like him, but then when all the wide receivers were hurt and it was nobody really there, he could have got started last week. This past Sunday, I think he was a good start. I talked about it yesterday with Chris and Aaron. He should have been there, but I did say Romeo Dubs did look really good if they all weren't gonna play. So he did look good. That might have been his breakout game,
yeah,
literally.
and I believe and I agree with that. One thing I am liking is that what Romeo Dobbs is doing is he's the rookie right now that is um gaining Aaron Rodgers' trust, and that's what Aaron Rodgers is looking for.
Yeah,
Watson had his chance, dropped some balls. He's dealing with injuries. Alan Lazard's getting his, but he's not looking like the guy that Aaron Rodgers was looking for, which is actually surprising to me. He
very.
has the seniority there, and you would think Aaron Rodgers would be looking for him, but he was not. Dobbs had his opportunity this week and took full advantage. 8 receptions, 8 targets. And he did what he did, a touchdown, and he had a great game. And I believe if he continues to build up that chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna be a great wide receiver to have in a flex position going forward.
No, I definitely agree with you. He does look really good. Alan Lazard looks like a little bit of a disappointment, but I will also kind of defend him. Tampa Bay is a good, very good defense, and they went after the number one guy on the depth chart, which was Lazard. So they did their best on shutting him down. I would like to see what happens next week. Who you said Green Bay plays? You just said it, and I had a brain fart. You just said Green Bay
New
plays.
England.
New England, yeah.
Yeah, Belichick's good at shutting down wide receiver ones too. Belichick's really good at doing that. So maybe give it a couple of weeks until they actually play like a lower defense and see where Lazard does. But Romeo Dubs a solid pickup. My wide receiver is Zay Jones from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He did really good. Had two solid weeks out of all three. The second week two was his little down week, but he did lead the team in targets. He did really well for Jacksonville. Had 24.5 points in fantasy and PPR leagues. Now, another name I would like to give you guys is I had it right here. Greg Dortch, from
Mm.
the Arizona Cardinals, as he's getting a lot of attention. Let me just show you guys tell you guys what he done the last 3 weeks. 7 receptions, 9 targets, 63 yards. Week two, 4 receptions, 4 targets, 55 yards, and a touchdown. Week three against the Rams, 9 receptions, 10 targets, and 80 yards. And all three of those weeks, he's having double-digit points in PPR fantasy leagues. I think in PPR, I think he is the best pickup out of everybody we just mentioned, just because he's getting a lot of the short passings and he gets attention. Greg Dortch, a really solid pickup. Um, there's not much tight ends to go through, but
My man Tyler Conklin.
Conklin.
Man, I've been talking about this guy
Conk.
since week two. I said, wow, he double digits again this week. He went even off, and I think he had a touchdown. Is that what it was?
No,
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 Jensen scored a touchdown.
no,
he
he
had
just went
84
off.
yards.
No, he just kept being the guy, and I picked him up. He's actually the tight end 3 right now in fantasy, which is actually pretty cool.
Whoa.
I
And he's registered in only 11.5 leagues.
Yep.
What? Let me pick him
I
up right now.
I
Hold on.
picked him up last week because I had him in my job league, and I cut Met, and
Oh,
I
oh.
got rid of him. I said I'm gonna take Conklin because I've been talking about him, so I gotta have him somewhere. And he put up 16 points for me this week in that league. So
A
Love
I'm
it.
wide
actually
receiver 3. I mean, a tight end number 3 right now, which is so crazy.
yeah.
Um,
Besides, yeah, if you don't have a Kelsey or a Andrews, look for my man Tyler
go get the number
Conklin.
3
Go
guy.
get the number 3 guy. Apparently, he's in the waiver wire, so go
Yeah,
pick up
he
my
is.
man.
David Njoku had a good game against Pittsburgh. A solid tight end you could pick up.
And
Chris,
they
I don't know
play
if
Atlanta next week too.
yeah, they play Atlanta. Chris, I don't know if you want to mention somebody. There's not much out there, but if you're gonna mention somebody, you can tell me. If not, we could.
No, I was just gonna go in Joku as well.
All right. So if you've been on Joku, one is a rookie tight end for the Colts. He actually got involved for the first time. Uh,
Woods.
Woods. 2 receptions, 3 targets, 13 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a rookie, not really a big name. I don't know how much you trust it, but if you really are that desperate, then
His
yeah,
what I will say is his snap count is increasing by
yes.
each week. So it went from 9% to 16%, and now he just went up to 23%. And if he got three targets and 2 receptions and 2 touchdowns and 3%, 23%, if his snap share continues to increase and the Colts continue to actually find themselves with this new quarterback and get better, he could be a good name right now. I'm not saying pick him up, start him today. Please don't think that's what
No,
I'm saying.
could be a pickup.
It's a good guy to keep your eye on, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But if there's anything you want to take from this show, fast forward to the end. Pick up Tyler Conklin, the number 3 tight end in fantasy right
Right
now.
now.
He is eating. That is gonna be it today, guys, for the JNC podcast. We will be back with another episode to talk about all the other games, talk about our starts and sits from last week, see what they did, how they did, see what went on. There's a lot more. We have a lot more injuries that we don't really get all the new information yet. We're gonna get more of it by tomorrow. You will see a new episode. This is JNC's podcast. We will see you guys the next day. Peace.